Yo, what is up, guys? This is, of course, your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday afternoon. I know that it's been a busy day for Celtics fans, even Nets fans. I mean, it's been a huge kind of sports news right now, right? We talk about the Nets firing Steve Nash, which I talked about earlier in a YouTube short, along with Ime Udoka potentially getting hired. Well, those rumors are put to rest as they will be eventually hiring him. But before we talk about all that stuff, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Again, all this stuff helps out the channel tremendously. Helps out my boy Pete, my boy Brad, as we kind of continue to grow this channel. And again, want it to be something special for you guys and special for everybody here on The Charge, where we can all talk sports and everything like that. So let me know what you guys think of the story in the comment section down below. But let's get right into it. And this is, of course, coming from Real GM, which I'll read right here for you. The Brooklyn Nets will hire Ime Udoka as their next head coach. Udoka is currently suspended for the entire year for the Boston Celtics due to an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Celtics granted Brooklyn to speak permission with Udoka and allowed him to leave freely without seeking any compensation. Boston hired Udoka before the season and, of course, served as assistant under the Nets. We know what he did. He obviously worked for San Antonio's Sean Marks, so he has a lot of history with both the organizations. And here's what I'll kind of say about this whole situation in terms of a Celtics fan. Obviously, you can see by the sweatshirt that I'm wearing, Boston Celtics. It's a little disappointing that the Celtics weren't able to hold on to Ime Udoka, or at least, get some sort of trade value. But at the end of the day, letting Udoka go was probably the right thing to do. I think Mazzulla is going to do a fantastic job for us. I'm excited to see him grow and develop as a coach. And kind of under, guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, really develop that coaching relationship that I think that he will do a great job at. Like, I don't necessarily think that, having Mazzulla, because I think that the first couple games were a test run for them, right? It was a test run to say, like, hey, or like, hey, Mazzulla, can you handle this as a head coach? And he clearly can. I think Brad Stevens can trust him as a coach. I think Jason Tatum can. I think Jaylen Brown can. And they respect the guy a lot. So I think that says a lot about who Mazzulla is as a man, and I think that's very commendable for the Celtics to give him an opportunity at such a young coach. I think at 34 years old, it's definitely a hard thing to do, right? To give a 34-year-old head coach a chance at galvanizing the troops and really helping this team out. So I'm excited to kind of see what goes on from there. The one thing that I am curious about, though, as the Celtics, again, they basically just let him go for free, right? That being Ime Udoka. And so I'm wondering if they are going to, if the report, if anything is going to come out from it. I mean, if it's just turns out to be just an inappropriate, relationship with a staffer, I think that obviously is a no-go in the workplace. But at the same time, is that honors to fire him? I mean, I think we've seen people do a lot worse in this league. And they've gotten off kind of scotch-free, in my opinion, compared to others. But, again, it's kind of one of those things where, it's the organization. They can do whatever they want. But at the same time, I don't know. I think it's unjust that, some people get to do a little bit more they get to do a little bit more kind of things that are really bad, but they get another opportunity. And so I'm kind of not with that. But in terms of, everything that's going on right now, the Celtics, obviously, they got their coach. The Brooklyn Nets are finally going to get their coach. But here's the one thing I will say for Brooklyn. I don't think any coach would save that organization and that what's going on right now for them. I think when we look at what's going on for the Brooklyn Nets, I think Steve Nash was scapegoated by both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And the reason why I say that is because years ago on their IG Live, they both talked about how they don't need a coach. They are the coaches. We all collaborate with one another. And it's funny to me that we now look at that and we kind of laugh at ourselves and really, kind of hindsight being 2020, it's like, well, apparently you did need a new head coach because it didn't work out for you. And you kind of see now what's going on for the Brooklyn Nets is that they're a complete mess. And it's not anything to do with the plays or, the personnel or really it's more the personnel. I think that this is probably the worst put together team besides the Lakers currently, in terms of you have superstar players and you're not giving them a superstar roster. And when you have that going on as the Brooklyn Nets, it's a little disappointing, a little bit frustrating because you look at this team, this team should be way better than what you see on paper. It's better on paper than what you see out of the product. I mean, there's no reason why the Brooklyn Nets shouldn't be at least, undefeated or at least maybe one game lost during the season. Like, this team is really good. And the fact that they can't win games when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are scoring more than 30 points a game is a little disappointing, because it kind of goes to show you that it's team basketball now. Like, that's kind of what the NBA is now in the year 2022. Hell, it's been like that since the year 2014. Like, you have to have a team around you to win games. It's no longer you can win with one superstar, right? And so when that happens and when you see that, it kind of goes to show you that you need to do a much better job building that roster and building people together. I don't know. I'm not really happy with the way that Brooklyn has scapegoated Steve Nash. Again, I don't think Steve Nash is a great coach myself, but at the same time, when I look at it and I see everything that's going on, how can I be mad at Steve Nash when these players don't really give their 100%? And I'm talking about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Those two guys, that was your main dude, and the fact that you got rid of him is a little bit, I would say, blindsiding, and I would say a little bit frustrating. But that's not to say Steve Nash and Sean Marks don't go without blame. I think those two are definitely to blame for some of the stuff that's been going on, because they allowed that culture of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and the way they kind of ran things at the organization. I really do think those two run the organization. I don't think Sean Marks does. I don't even think Tasai does, the owner. Like, it's basically what Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving want. And if whatever they want, they'll get. And it kind of goes to show you that, okay, now you have to take the responsibility. You have to take the blame. Again, I don't think Steve Nash is blameless, like I've been trying to reiterate 100 times, because I do think that he does have some responsibility in terms of responding to the players, challenging them, being stern but being fair about it. The fact that he couldn't do that with those guys just kind of goes to show you that he really needed to be a coach of a team that he can grow with. Like I talked about years before they drafted Paulo Banchero, he maybe needed to be the coach of the Orlando Magic, or maybe the coach of the Charlotte Hornets, and just really kind of ease his way into there. And when he does that, I think you're going to get a good coach. But unfortunately, that's just not the case right now. And so it's a little frustrating if you're Steve Nash, because you've worked so hard for all this stuff and then eventually you don't get it. That being a head coaching job, like, you're secure. You got one of the best players in the world, two of the best players in the world, now even three of the best players in the world. If we're talking about a couple years back, like, those are three all-star players, and the fact that you can't turn that into wins and turn that into a consistent roster and things that go on there, it just kind of goes to show you the disappointment that I see personally with the Brooklyn Nets. But again, their rebounding problems are kind of the biggest issue to me. Defensively, yeah, they're really bad. They're Swiss cheese. But I think it's the rebounding. Like, you can get away sometimes with really bad defense against really bad teams. But if you can't rebound the ball and give yourself more opportunities to score the bucket, and you give the other team more opportunities to score the bucket, I mean, that's just going to be a recipe for disaster. And I think that this roster, no matter how you slice it, is the same since last year, and nothing's going to really change, even if you add Ime Udoka, who I think is going to add that stability and that culture of, hey, I'm not going to take crap from nobody. I'm going to make sure that I'm stern but fair, but I'm going to make sure I hold you guys accountable. And that's what he did with Tatum and Brown, and that's where you saw the manifestation of the Celtics last year grow into what we see now, which is like, okay, these two guys take onus on each other. The team is well constructed around another. The Brooklyn Nets are not well constructed. I think that they were kind of put together by a terrible GM who, again, probably listened to Kevin Durant and who the players that he wanted to play with, instead of, all right, what players can work with Kevin Durant? And that's where I think it's at. And of course, they had Jared Allen all those years ago, and instead of having him on this team balling out, they picked DeAndre Jordan, and he's out of the league now. Or I think he's on the Denver, if I'm not mistaken, actually. And so, that doesn't really help you out. I mean, they should have just kept Jared Allen, but at the end of the day, they decided to do what they did. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? I think I'm tired of seeing Steve Nash being the scapegoat. Let me know if you think that he was, or do you think it's fair that he got fired? Let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.